Welcome back to the channel. This is Honest Adonis 2. Nobody wanted to sign with Nike. Nobody really wanted to be a part of the Bulls until Jordan got there.
What the fuck?
The popular brands were Converse, Adidas, not Nike.
Heard that story before.
Now, LeBron James fans have consistently said, although they've slowed down as of late because it's come back to bite them in the ass, Google is free. Having said that, this is what Google said to me when I asked, most popular sneaker brands more popular financially and commercially than Nike in 1983. Why is that year important? Because LeBron fans will say, oh, you cherry-picked that year. That's before Michael Jordan got there. So they should be popping off financially and commercially before Jordan got there. It should be a situation where Jordan is just riding on Nike's coattails. Let's read. In 1983, the global footwear giant Adidas and the iconic heritage brand Converse were both more popular financially and commercially than Nike, with Adidas serving as the worldwide market leader and Converse dominating the basketball landscape. What are you talking about, LeBron James fan? I mean, it's laughable when you say these things, and I love it because you're giving us more content to make. You might say, oh, you talking about LeBron, to give yourself some type of credit. Nigga, you're giving me the opportunity to talk about me. You're giving me the opportunity to talk about my era. Why we were so historic, what made us so historic. If you were smart, you would stop talking about Jordan and our era altogether and just let it die out like the Ford, which my mechanic friend said stands for found on road dead. In reverse, driver returned on foot. But that's the problem. Our era won't die fast enough. These dudes are tired of hearing about it because we're so impactful. Then 20, 30 years later, these kids are still living off our era. You can see our influence still shining in popular culture. And it gives these LeBron fans a stomach ache so bad. You know, LeBron James is the same age as my wife. Yes, my wife is 41. And my wife tells me, yes, because my wife is 10 years younger than me. Yes, LeBron James fan, and I met her when I was 20. Matter of fact, she saw me when she was 23 and shot her shot at me. Understand that, LeBron James fan. I wasn't in her DM begging her for a date. I ain't even see her. She saw me, shot her shot at me, and the rest is history. So she tells me, because obviously her and I were not in high school at the same time. When I was in high school was totally different from when she was in high school. So she tells me when we were in high school, it was all about Michael Jordan. She's telling me from a girl's perspective. There weren't any girls who dated dudes, and if those dudes played sports, didn't talk about Michael Jordan and Kobe. They talked about basketball in general, but Mike and Kobe, my wife told me, she said, I've been in rooms where it's just a bunch of dudes smoking weed, and I'm there, the other girls are there, girlfriends of the dudes, whatever, and the dudes are just watching sports, yelling and being violent. Oh, whoa! As girls, we're sitting here like, these niggas is wilding, but that's our boyfriend. We just doing what we do as girls, sitting there talking in the next room while these dudes are doing that. Now, I'm laughing because I remember being in those rooms with a bunch of dudes who like sports, is weed smoking in a room, whatever these dudes are doing, playing cards, playing chess, whatever, and we watching sports, and these dudes, their girls is over there doing what the girls do in the next room. Shout out to you men who have been in those rooms, who know about those rooms. Maybe you was the puff man coming over there dropping off. Who knows why you was in those rooms, you was privy to those rooms. LeBron James fan, y'all don't even do that no more. Not in that way. Not in that way. Y'all, I don't know what y'all doing, but I know y'all not doing that. We gonna keep going on that one. It goes on to say, dominant brands in 1983, Adidas, you know about that. Converse, deeply entrenched via the Chuck Taylor legacy. Puma, alongside the other Dazzler-rooted brand, Puma held a substantial and competitive global market. Let's go back to what KRS once said. You're better off talking about the whack Puma sneaker. Let's continue. Market dynamics of the era. The running boom. Nike was a running shoe, not a basketball shoe, LeBron James fan. Fuck you, you don't know what you're talking about. The running boom plateau. By 1983, the U.S. running boom that fueled Nike's rapid initial growth had matured, causing Nike's domestic sales to stall. Let me explain what that means to you. Running had reached its plateau. What are we gonna do to keep our money growing? Right? Causing Nike's domestic sales to stall and leading to its first major financial slump and inventory pileup by 1984. I'm not even going to hold your bitch ass hand at this time, LeBron James fan. If you're not smart enough to understand what all of that I read means, and I think you are, I think you just fronting, playing around because you just want to have a reason to keep talking to me. The argument is their excuse to talk to us, fellas. We don't got nothing else in common with them. If they weren't arguing with us, there'd be no conversation at all because we would not even talk to them at all. This is why I say I think they're just pretending they don't get it. But like I was saying, if you don't get what I'm saying, all of the stuff that I read out, you're not even smart enough to be on this channel. Find your dad, talk to him about basketball. I keep saying that. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Circa Stevie Wonder. I just called to say, motherfuck you. Bing, 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 bing. I just called to say, get out my face. Fuck you, bitch ass nigga. Now for the second part of what I was talking about at the beginning of this video, because Google is free, I asked, what were the valuations of some of the lowest valued teams in the NBA in 1983? Google says, in 1983, low-end NBA franchise values hovered around 10 million to 11 million. Notable examples of teams changing hands or valued at the bottom of the league during that period include the Indiana Pacers, sold for roughly 10.5 million to 11 million in 1983, and the Kansas City Kings, later the Sacramento Kings, sold for 10.5 million in June 1983. Rock with me now, because I know a lot of LeBron fans are saying, what do that mean? They're not saying that out of not understanding. They're saying that out of not wanting context to be added in. Let's keep going. Speaking of context, it says historical context of 1983 valuations. Teams' sales figures reflected a struggling league. I want to stop right there. A struggling league. You weren't making that much money in your league nationally. Fuck globally. The world don't even give a fuck about America basketball anyway. Let's start over. Team sales figures reflected a struggling league plagued by low national television visibility, drug controversies. We always say when Jordan got to the Bulls, it was a bunch of drug addicts on his team. Jordan didn't do drugs, and widespread financial losses before David Stern took over as commissioner in 1984. You can give David Stern the credit. That means we got to look at Adam Silver and directly blame him because he's not as good a commissioner as David Stern. That's a video for another day. This is according, as you see, according to Forbes. Forbes magazine is lying for me. It's lying for Jordan lovers, right? All of these, what do you call these guys? Cobe-tards? Forbes is lying for us. Okay, all right. Next bullet point. Total league revenues for the entire 82-83 season were just 118 million across all teams, meaning individual franchises were routinely valued at little more than a high-end commercial real estate deal or player payroll commitments. So I read all that to say the NBA was not a profitable venture, not before Michael Jordan. That's why they added so many teams. Look at all this money we're making now because of Michael Jordan. We may as well strike while the iron's hot and add another team because we're adding teams for money, not to help Jordan. This is helping us. Jordan is helping the NBA corporation make more money. Let's start a team, build a stadium, charge people hundreds, today thousands of dollars for floor seats, use part of that money to pay off the loan for the stadium, pocket the rest of the money. I know you want to pretend like you don't understand that, but at the same time, you do understand player contracts. Stop the cap. That's one thing you won't hear Rich Paul talking about. He won't talk about what owners got to deal with when it comes to moving a franchise to another state. He won't talk about that on his podcast. Why? Not only is it above his pay grade, for one, hold on. I know you're going to say, oh, no, he's not a player either. So you shouldn't be talking about other player contracts. See there? That's why I said he won't talk about that on his podcast because Steven knows what to talk about when it comes to Calvin Candy. He knows what not to talk about around Calvin Candy. Because at the end of the day, you still a boy. I still own you. You can tell the other, for lack of a better phrase, workers what to do. You can yell and scream at them. You can even raise your voice a little bit at Calvin Candy and say,
I ask you, who this nigga on that name?
You can talk like that, but when Calvin raises his voice, you still gotta say,
yes, sir, Mr. Candy. Go on now.
Ooh, that was a little too deep on these LeBron James fans. I know it hurt a little. Now, I made this whole video not to convince you, but to say, dude, we're not talking about LeBron. When these dudes say, yo, when LeBron leaves, these niggas is gonna be broke. Dude, you're getting paid off of Jordan.
Aha! Aha! Why do you know, you bastard?
Jordan paid the NBA by coming and being a fantastic player. Dude, that was must-see TV. There's nothing that nobody in the NBA does, pardon me, excuse me, except for New York City, because bitch nigga, New York has been New York. That's the home of hip-hop. Nigga, ground zero. Fuck is you talking about, my nigga? New York has been a historical place. What the fuck is these weird niggas talking about? Nigga, you heard this from me. This is mine. Nobody said this ever before. I never heard the nigga say it. New York is the home of the scam. I give you all these beads for all that land. Nigga, put that in your pipe and smoke that one. That's a whole bar. I've been saying for years comedically to nigga, since the mid-90s at least. New York is the home of the scam. I give you all these beads for all that land. Now, listening to Dave Chappelle, the Native Americans and the white folks were scamming each other. One, take all these beads for all that land. And then the natives were saying, these niggas think you can buy land? Here, nigga, you want to buy the sky? You want to buy that cloud over there? I sell you that cloud over there. So they was both scamming one another. And as far as America is concerned, New York is the home of the scam. I'm saying that to say that's why the highest rated finals since the last highest rated finals, which was 1998 Michael Jordan. That's right. From 98 until 2026, none of those finals in between got higher ratings than Michael Jordan 1998 than the Knicks and the Spurs. You can say it's Wemby, no doubt. LeBron don't got shit to do with that, you bitch nigga. I'm saying, quite plainly, no, dude, LeBron is not what's selling this basketball talk. Everybody wants to hear about Jordan. The fuck are you talking about? Motherfuckers want to hear. What do you have to say? They said this about Jordan. Tell me, is that true? That's why niggas is tuning in, dude. I told you weirdos. Without Michael Jordan, LeBron James is boring. Nobody was talking about this nigga like that before he said that one right there made me the greatest of all time. Not that one right there. That's not the talking point. Made me the greatest. That right there is what made everybody talk. Period, point blank. Nobody thought he was the greatest before that. Nobody said he was the greatest. Go back and look in the looking well. What do they call it? The Wayback Machine? The shit didn't exist. Anyway, bitch nigga, that's my take. I'm sticking to it. Shout out to all these grown men who come from my era, our era. We created hip-hop, nigga. If you're still using rap at all in any capacity, thank our era, nigga. Generation X created hip-hop. That genre of music did not exist in the 1960s and before. Matter of fact, let me end it out on this last clip right here.
I don't think black people get enough credit for the fact that we responded to the stereotype of not being able to speak properly by creating a music genre that uses more English and literary devices in it than literally any other music genre. And not only that, but that genre proceeded to become the biggest form of music in the 21st century, to a point where now you have a bunch of white and Korean rappers who are trying to appropriate the style of that genre. Like, the fact that rap is not talked about in that context is crazy to me. I don't want my kids around them. They can't even talk right. And now your daughters are rehearsing dreams and nightmares a week before prom so she don't look out of place in them Snapchat stories. That's a crazy look. Like, no bullshit, you could teach a good 70% of fundamental literary concepts solely through Lil Wayne's verse on 6 Foot, 7 Foot. Where is the white equivalent? Mind you, while this genre is still at the height of its popularity, y'all just voted for a president who can't use words longer than 2 syllables in his speeches. Like, Shakespeare was really back there in the 1500s just making up words, just cooking up bullshit in the kettle, and it took for black people in the 70s for rap to exist. Y'all had all that English out there all that time, and y'all didn't think, well, let's just put the poem into a song and speak it a little bit faster? Really? Superior race? Okay. Genuinely imagine the opposite of this. Imagine if white people went to African nations and they started making African songs with African languages better than the Africans were. Do you know how wild that would be?